Hello everybody and welcome to What About the Game. Today I'm going to be talking about the Beggar's Ride on the Wii U eShop. The Beggar's Ride. It doesn't sound like the most exciting or likable game title I've ever heard, but at least it's intriguing. Originally released as a title for mobile devices, the 2D puzzle platformer has now been optimized with real controls on the Wii U. First thing that will strike you about the game as you begin the story is the excellent and professional narration during the opening and throughout the game. I'm sure I've heard this narrator's voice somewhere in another game before, but I can't quite put my finger on what. Either way, he delivers the rather wishy-washy lines very well. And that's another point, the delivery of the story is a little pretentious and overly mysterious. The story is told from an occasional narration piece at the end of a section, but also through words written around the landscape as you walk past various points. It's all rather stylishly done, with varying sizes of words and their succinct nature. It's a very simple story. A beggar stumbles across the mask of a god and gains a new special power. Along the way he collects a few more until the game ends. There's a rather predictable twist in the story, but it's nice that they actually tried and it's somewhat interesting. Coming from a mobile game, you'd be forgiven for worrying about the controls, especially considering it's a platformer at heart. Sadly, the transition hasn't been the smoothest. Walking feels stiff, and the jumping is a mixture of both stiff and floaty, if that makes any sense at all. Thankfully, the Beggar's Ride is a simple game, and the slightly fiddly controls generally don't get in the way. Platforming is simple for the most part, which makes the game a more relaxing and laid-back experience, which is to its merit. The most interesting part of the game is in its puzzles. The god masks that you pick up during the game give you powers to solve the puzzles you'll regularly come across. The first mask gives you the power to move clouds by using the gamepad touchscreen, and you can produce rain. The second lets you rotate the landscape by using gyroscopic sensors of the pad, and you can use this to coerce rocks off the edge of cliffs and such. The last ones involve moving earth and changing the light. It's a nice idea that works for the most part, but the sun power at the end is incredibly finicky though, and seems to have a mind of its own for the most part. Because of the laid-back nature of the game, it never presents like a huge problem, as you seemingly have all the time in the world. There are a few enemies in the game that will try to get in your way, but they really are few and far between. It's especially surprising when you come across one enemy that's actually aggressive towards you, rather than just something in the way. But it won't be too long or too much of a test of your skills to just get by. The game looks fine for what it is, even if it's overly simple, but that suits the gameplay well. There's also not much to say regarding the sound design. It's very much a middle-of-the-road affair. And that's the Beggar's Ride in a nutshell. It's a short, harmless 2D puzzle platformer that's not going to either amaze or disappoint. It's got a few little flaws that stop it from being a must-have game, especially the controls. The gamepad is well used and welcome on the system. It's just a shame that the game as a whole is just so middle of the road. Certainly not bad, just not great either. Okay guys, if you've enjoyed this video then be sure to like and subscribe. You can read the full review of The Beggar's Ride at whataboutthegame.com, that will really help me out a lot. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you want to. The links are below. Thanks guys, bye bye.